In fact, the city itself is a small part of the total area, which is indicated with the red color on the map. So it's better to come to Chongqing in March or April. Buildings here are really different from other cities in China. During the Sino-Japanese War, Chongqing was the capital of the Republic of China. Because of these endless stairs, walking around Chongqing is not that easy and even exhausting.
И дальше идет жилой дом, и по сути поезд входит прямо в жилой дом и проходит сквозь него. Место в своем роде уникальное. И это является одной из визитных карточек Чунсиня.
Monorail line passes directly through the 19th-story building. Among different antique shops, there is one old unusual bookstore. But this time we decided to try fried eggplant in spicy sauce. Chongqing has not only the longest cableway in China, but the longest escalator that leads to the subway. Seriously, people just standing in front of them and taking photos. If I ask you what is the biggest city in the world, most of you will say that this is Tokyo. And you will be right to some extent if we regard Tokyo as the largest city in terms of population and urban areas. But few people have heard and know that back in 2005, Time magazine indicated that Chinese city Chongqing is most likely not only the largest city in China, but also in the whole world. And if we take into account the total area in the rankings, then Chongqing can honorably take the first place with the area of 82,000 square kilometers, while Tokyo has an area a little more than 2,000. Chongqing often does not appear in official rankings at all. Nevertheless, behind the scenes of these statistics, it is considered to be the largest city in the world. But here I need to mention that we have such huge numbers not only on the area of Chongqing City itself, but on all of the counties in the neighborhood, which are also considered to be part of the city. It means that Chongqing is one of the 4 municipalities under the direct administration of the central government of the People's Republic of China. It means that Chongqing is one of the 4 municipalities under the direct administration of the central government of the People's Republic of China. In other words, we can call Chongqing as a city province. Such city as a Chongqing directly administrate all county-level units, including villages and small cities. In fact, the city itself is a small part of the total area, which is indicated with the red color on the map. And other main parts that you can see here are smaller cities, towns, and agricultural land. During the Sino-Japanese War, Chongqing was the capital of the Republic of China. In 1937, the government issued a declaration relocating its capital to Chongqing. Before that, the capital was in Nanjing, but it was captured by the Japanese soldiers. Chongqing became a reserve capital for several reasons. First of all, the city had a well-developed transport infrastructure on water and land. And secondly, it was surrounded by mountains. The area was easy to defend and difficult to attack. Since then, Chongqing became political, military, economic, and cultural center of China. In 1949, the Communist Party won the civil war and the capital of the country was returned to Beijing. Chongqing has a bunch of different names. For example, one of them is the City of Mountains. This name comes from geographical location of the city. Chongqing is located in the eastern part of the Sichuan mountain chain and surrounded by 3 mountain ranges: Dabashan in the north, Wushan in the east, and Daloushan in the south. And just like London, Chongqing is also called as a foggy capital. Chongqing has a subtropical humid climate. The humidity is usually about 70–80%, and the city is often shrouded in thick fog. So it's better to come to Chongqing in March or April. By this time the winter rainy season ends and it's not that hot. In 1997, Chongqing, along with Beijing, Shanghai, and Tianjin, became a city under the direct administration of the central government. In that way, China admitted the historical independence and importance of the city. Nowadays, Chongqing is under the direct control of the central government, just like provinces or special administrative regions. There are some reasons why Chongqing became such kind of city. The main reason was that Sichuan province, where Chongqing was located before, was simply overpopulated. At that time, more than 100 million people were living there, and its area was also huge, around 600 million square kilometers. Nowadays, more than 30 million people live in Chongqing, but the majority of population is living in rural areas. Second reason is that the city was located near the Three Gorges Dam. The government wanted to simplify all processes as much as possible and increase the efficiency of the future dam. In addition, the city remains an important hub for water and land transportation, as well as a center of science, technology, culture, and education in southwest of China. With all of that, let's go back to the city. When we came to Chongqing, we realized at once that we had never been to such a city in China. The city really has its own unique atmosphere, architecture, and even its own smell. And probably the most fundamental feature of the city is its multi-levelness, with unusual buildings and skyscrapers handing over you from all sides.
Вот нашли в одном из парков такую смотровую площадку. Про нее, кстати, вообще нигде не написано, и здесь нет людей. И вот отсюда можно, в принципе, оценить масштабы города и увидеть, насколько он многоуровневый. Вот буквально только что мы были внизу, ездили на монорельсе, и мы были уже сверху. То есть под нами были дома, дороги, улицы. И сейчас мы еще выше. И вот можно увидеть, как все там застроено, какой он слоеный, этот город.
Buildings here are really different from other cities in China. They look much wider, they often have unusual shapes, and many buildings are connected with small bridges. Because of the kind of hilly terrain on which city is located, buildings and entire areas were built on different levels. And for you just to reach your house, stairs are your only way. To be honest, because of these endless stairs, walking around Chongqing is not that easy and even exhausting. So you better prepare for that when you come to Chongqing. Everything is multi-leveled in this city, including the whole metro system, which is quite interesting and worth mentioning. Ground transportation is represented by monorail, which is passing through the whole city. And by the way, if you're going to get familiar with Chongqing and you want to see beautiful panoramic views, you better to use monorail, especially its second line. Metro system here is different from other typical Chinese cities. Seriously, 2 subway stations which are located nearby can vary in height more than 100 meters. And another interesting fact is that the uniform of the subway employees is green and differs from the standard uniform of employees in other Chinese cities. And talking about subway, I should mention one of the most recognizable place in Chongqing.
Посмотрите, сколько китайцев здесь собралось. И все чего-то ждут. Как думаете, почему здесь так много людей? Смотрите. Все чего-то ждут. Мы находимся вот просто вдоль обычной дороги. Ничего такого. Но почему-то здесь все стоят. А причина, по которой все стоят, это вот здание. Видите? Поезд входит прямо в здание. Первые этажи, нижние этажи здания нежилые, дальше идет жилой дом, и, по сути, поезд входит прямо в жилой дом и проходит сквозь него. Место в своем роде уникальное, и это является одной из визитных карточек Чунсиня.
Monorail line passes directly through the 19th-story building. The station itself occupies 2 floors. Although the locals live just above the station, the noise from the trains is suppressed by special equipment. The Daily Mail claims that the station sound disturbs residents no more than a running dishwasher machine. But at the same time, according to other resources, people complain about the noise and constant headaches. This solution was kind of a compromise. Because of that decision, it was possible not to demolish the entire building for the sake of new monorail line. Our city is densely built up, and finding a place for new roads is becoming a big challenge, a spokesman of the Urban Transportation Department said. In Chongqing, we tried to visit not only the main attractions, but also walk around the common residential areas. For example, in one of those areas, locals are cooking some kind of a sticky rice cake, and as far as you can see, the place is very popular and always crowded with people. To be honest, you never know what you can find on your way. Another example is this interesting antique store that we occasionally found nearby. You can find almost everything there, an old radio or military binocular. This place is literally filled with different antique stuff. But this shop was not the purpose of our visit. Among different antique shops, there is one old unusual bookstore. This place becomes super popular among photographers, and we also decided to take some shots there, which I included in my final version of Chongqing cinematic travel video. You can click that link to watch full video. The owner of this store also became famous. He's been selling books here for years, and there is even an article about this store in one of the most popular Chinese newspaper, Renmin-Zhibao. Because of that fame and huge number of photographers, owner began to charge them. And now, if you want to take a photo, you have to pay him 15 yuans. But he's not just collecting money, he's asking you to buy some books. If you're in Chongqing, you can visit that place and take some really interesting photos. All places that you will see here, I'll put in the description below so you can easily find them if you want. The main street of Chongqing is Jiefan The big monument in the center of the square symbolizes Chinese victory in Second Sino-Japanese War. The Jiefan pedestrian square itself is lined with numerous giant mega shopping malls, with LED screens and illuminated advertising billboards located alongside the city's tallest commercial skyscrapers, world-class international hotels, and luxurious residential accommodations. There are a lot of similar squares in Chongqing. For example, this place has this huge, cool 3D LED screen. And also you can find a lot of restaurants, and also called Meishijie, Street of Delicacies. Well, in other words, this is just a concentration of various fast food outlets and small restaurants in one place. These Meishijie are always crowded with people. Usually we don't eat anything in such places, but this time we decided to try fried eggplant in spicy sauce. By the way, it turned out that not only Sichuan is famous for the spiciest food in China, Chongqing can easily compete with Sichuan. The main reason why Chongqing people consume so many spicy food is the humid climate. Chinese say that spicy food helps to remove that moisture from the body. Spicy food makes you sweat even when it's not hot. And Chongqing is also famous for its special huoguo. For those people who don't know, huoguo means hot pot. It's most commonly a large diameter ball sitting atop a portable electric hot plate or portable gas burner. All the food is on a separate dishes and added individually, and the meal progresses in such way that you may eat prawns, then squid pieces, then tofu, but there is no rules, so they may also be thrown it together with sliced mushrooms and tomatoes. Chinese people like hot pot a lot, and they even ready to stand in line so they can get inside the hot pot restaurant.
Видимо, какое-то известное место этого хуоко. Смотрите, сколько здесь людей снаружи. Все эти люди ждут очереди, чтобы войти внутрь и поесть. И здесь такая очередь всегда.
By the way, not far from this restaurant, there is a small shop that recently became very popular among Chinese young people. Seriously, people just standing in front of them and taking photos. But there were a lot of people, so we decided not to wait. I think this might be most popular small shop in the whole Chongqing. Chongqing is also famous because of its longest roadway in China. It is a cable car stretching across the Yangtze River that runs through the city, whisking visitors high in the sky across the mountain metropolis. It is a symbol of the city. The cableway stretching more than 1,000 kilometers. One-way trip taking 5 to 6 minutes, and nowadays it's a tourist spot rather than public transportation. Taking the cable car can give you a perfect way to enjoy the beautiful and unique scenery in 3D vertical city. It has become the city's landmark and a touching memory for the locals, and also inspiration for filmmakers and must-do in Chongqing. Chongqing has not only longest cableway in China, but the longest escalator that leads to the subway. It is the longest in China and the second in Asia. Unfortunately, we didn't try that famous cableway because we spent only 4 days in Chongqing. Chinese say that if you haven't ride that cableway, you haven't been to Chongqing. However, instead of that cable car, we managed to find an extremely beautiful observation deck. It is located on the river bank and gives you simply stunning view.
Смотрите, какую мы нашли смотровую площадку. Как вам вид? Мы с Леной даже задумались, где вид красивше. Здесь или на Шанхайской набережной. Но мы находимся сейчас, если видите, буквально на берегу реки. Чтобы сюда попасть, нужно целый квест проделать. Тут есть смотровая площадка, где все люди находятся. Они находятся вон там, сверху. То есть здесь сейчас идет стройка, сюда практически не попасть. Китайцы в одном месте там выломали забор, и самые умные и хитрые сюда так проникают, чтобы тут что-то снять. Ну, в принципе, мы в их числе.
In the end, I would like to say that 4 days that we spent in Chongqing were not enough to see everything that we planned. Nevertheless, even during these 4 days, we were able to feel what is Chongqing. And to my taste, it is huge, busy, and quite mysterious metropolis. It was giving me that sense of mystery long before the trip, and even after the trip, I still have that feeling. And maybe one of the most important thing about Chongqing is its unique atmosphere and style. And you feel it from the first moment when you arrive there. It really doesn't look like most Chinese cities that we've been before, and that's what we liked about it. If you're in China and have never been to Chongqing, I think that you should plan your next trip there. And again, all locations that were mentioned in this episode, I will leave in the description below so you can easily find them. Thank you for watching. Be sure to write your comments below what you think about this city, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button. After Chongqing, I'm planning to tell you about such Chinese cities as Nanchang and Wuhan. No doubts that will be interesting. So stay tuned for seeing my next episode and have a good day.